Hey y'all, how you perking? I hope you're perking good. So, here we are back again for another Future of Vigio today. Y'all have been requesting a lot of Future of Trump, Future of Biden, Future of Kamala, now Future of RFK Jr. And with the exception of Kamala Harris, she was kind of new on the scene in terms of coming up in a presidential capacity, so I did not have any previous videos discussing her, but I did do previous prediction videos on Trump, Biden, and RFK Jr. All of those videos were done a year ago, and a lot of that has already come true. So in every single video that I've been repeating and doing an update version of, I've been including footage of all the predictions I had in the past that came true. Well, not even all of them. There's some of these people have done a lot of predictions on, and I didn't go back and look in every single video. I just looked in, some of the ones that were labeled like, hey, this is about this person. So there's more predictions that have come true than even what I included. But I did include some footage of some of the predictions I made about these people that came true in those videos. So I'll be doing that again here today. I've got some footage from predictions I've made in the past about RFK Jr. that have already come true. But we're going to dive in today to look at an update, get some new predictions here out on the table, literally and figuratively, and see where we're headed next. What can we know about RFK Jr.'s future? What should we know? What are we allowed to know? And just kind of get a sense for that. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm a mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive, and in these videos we take a look at the tea with the tarot. So don't be freaked out. Like I said, got a good track record here. Let me pull up the cards and move this microphone right here. Got Penelope in her purple matching me in my purple. Trying to be festive here as we talk about politics, because politics is not always the most festive, exciting, and lighthearted topic. So I try to plug and chug some things to help bring up the mood a little bit. As we get into this, y'all know the drill. This is all alleged, just my interpretation. The YouTube overlords like that I say that to cover my bases. Cover my ass. So all alleged, just my interpretation, that we're gonna get into this. So let's see. We want to know the future of RFK Jr. We want to know what we're allowed to know. We want to know what is in store for him coming up. He's running as an independent right now, and usually we are only ever voting for Republicans and Democrats, most people at least, so a lot of times the independents are considered a quote-unquote throwaway vote. I hate that that's how people say it over here, but they say it for a reason, because independents don't tend to win. Even people who say, well, I'm definitely voting for this independent, sometimes when it's crunch time and you're standing there in front of the ballot box, you get this pressure of, but if I vote for them, then, one of these two people could win, and I just want to make sure that one doesn't win, so I'll vote for the opposite one. And that's what people tend to do last minute. So let's see here. For him, he's been running hard. He's been, putting a lot of ground here. He's been polling pretty high for an independent. A lot of people feel like he really could get somewhere, and there's a lot of people really behind him in this. Before I pull cards on this, let's go ahead and just show y'all the things that I had already predicted about RFK Jr. so we can get that part out of the way. So, a whole year ago, back when he was still running in the Democratic Party, the cards, we were looking through things and definitely saw the writings on the wall about, what was to come in terms of his journey as a Democrat with the Democrats, and all of that played out just like what we saw in the cards. So here, y'all take a look at that real quick, and then we'll get back into what comes after that. But yeah, take a look at that. However, this is the biggie, and this is the one I was considering getting context on, and I might still. Fuck it, I will. Because this is the Eight of Cups, and this is a walking away from something, as you can see. So I am a little curious on that. Let's get curious. Let's look into the Eight of Cups here. Walking away, what do we mean? Ooh, self-sabotage card. Walking away from something due to self-sabotage because something isn't right in the family. The Four of, and I said family in quotes because it might not mean his literal family. It might mean family as in, you know, the people that he usually has around him, his supporters, his colleagues, his, you know, team, something. So I put it in quotes there, but there's this idea of walking away because of some sort of self-sabotage, something not going well in the quote-unquote family. Yeah, come hell or high water, something has to be done about this. It ain't over till it's over. Tower card. Ooh. Your future's getting a little saucy here, dude. Okay. Oh, sir. And the Tower card is up right here. So this doesn't mean it's just a Tower moment within himself and his own mind and heart or something like this. This is like a Tower moment that we might all see, because this is something external, an external Tower moment. So this is looking at something happening, you know, out in the world that would be visible to the rest of us. That's a big deal moment. Tower cards are always about something that it was a structure built the way it was built, and then now that structure starts crumbling and falling down to ground zero for you to rebuild again. And so there's something here that looks like it's collapsing in his external environment in the future that will need to be rebuilt. Ooh, and all of this has to do with walking away some kind of a way. So that, I don't know if that will be considered just a big deal or if we're talking like scandal. I'm not sure the extent to which it might fall on that type of dramatic theme, but ooh, okay. Just one more on the Tower card. One more, spirit guides, on the Tower card. Ooh, communication in reverse. Also a card about moving forward in reverse. Also a card about kind of like alliances and stuff in reverse. So communication, alliances, moving forward in reverse. Is he gonna have it out with his own freaking people? Because there's something there. There's something there, and I see some dissension, some sort of walking away. So there's this. Damn. I mean, that's all I can say. I'm like, damn. But it almost looks like they're saying you're ahead of yourself, guy. Like, as if if you took him as a person and maybe stuck him in 100 years from now, a lifetime 100 years from now, maybe he'd have something to work with there, or he'd get somewhere with that. But it seems like he's not in the right timeline, time zone, time era. And he's got some ugly stuff coming. That Tower moment did not look good. This support issue does not look good. The weakening does not look good. Looking like he gets either pushed out or having to walk away does not look good. I mean, he picked a tough road here, because, and the reason why I'm saying he picked is because twice we've gotten this self-sabotage card. So it's, in some ways, they're saying that there's something he's done or is doing or will do that in some ways brings this on himself. So I'm not, trying to victim shame, victim blame, or anything like that. But for me to have gotten that Ten of Swords twice in reverse now, there's something that he could, would, should do differently that maybe would make the path not so hard. But maybe he's fine with having a hard path if he's doing what he feels like is right. I don't know. I don't know what the circumstance is here, but wow. All right, y'all. So, there it is. Predicted that a year ago, predicted that before it happened, and it hasn't looked good for him from there in terms of, how he's been treated and trying to get through things, and it's a mess. So let's see Let's see now. Let's start something new here in terms of the future of RFK Jr. from here on out. What are we looking at now moving forward for him? All right, y'all. Gotta be honest, I ain't even asked for any other context cards here. This is what I've already got. And y'all see what it is. You know, his strength card is coming up right because they're pitching him as a strong person with, you know, a strong character, I guess his own personal strength and his own integrity. So all of that is coming up very well. And technically our 8 of Swords in reverse is not too shabby for him either. And that, yeah, his arms were tied. He was, you know, kind of bound by certain rules and regulations and things like that. But this is kind of going in the reverse from that. So meaning that there is a certain freedom that he has now that he otherwise would not have had. And that freedom, so to speak, is going to be a good thing for him moving forward. So even beyond just maybe this election cycle, like what that freedom has earned him or enabled him is something that we might continue to see play out for weeks, months, possibly even years to come. So there are some strengths here in his decision to go independent and what that could afford him, what he would be allowed to do based on that. So that's a good thing, and a good thing that we'll see playing out for a while to come. However, we've got all these reversals here that can present challenges. Even if we've got a devil card here, I like seeing it that it's in reverse, but it's still a bit of a challenge card nonetheless. With this, it looks like he's about to come up against more things that, for lack of a better way of saying it, it just plays dirty, you know, doesn't play well in the sandbox. When the Magician card comes up in reverse, that is a card that all the time has a very manipulative energy about it. And so I don't see this as meaning him being manipulative. I see this as external forces manipulating things about and around him. So it seems that he's already kind of fielded a lot of issues, a lot of manipulations and things like that. He's already kind of had to walk through that minefield, and it's not even over. Like, he's still got so much more of that to go through yet. With this card coming up in reverse, like, unfortunately, what we've seen already only seems like the tip of the iceberg for him. I see it going well beyond even just that. So, just like I said in the previous video, and again, that video clip was only 4.5 minutes or so of that video. There's an entire video there a year ago on the channel, and you can check out that it said his future is going to be wrought with challenges, that he's going to keep taking hits, that he's going to keep going, you know, against the grain. There was this sense of, you're ahead of your time, dude, or something like that. And I see that continuing forward here for him. The Devil card in reverse, the good sign about this is that even if he will be going through challenges, he will get to break some chains. So the way that seems to me is that we are entering a period of time where it will be more obvious when things are happening that are wrong or unfair or, you know, manipulative or low blows. Like, it will be easier to see that now than maybe it had ever been in the past. So the ability to shine a light on some really dark, ugly truths is something that he's going to be able to help bring forward, and he's going to be able to help break some of that. He's going to be able to bring that forward in a way that makes everybody see it for what it is, to the point where now when it happens again, our eyes and ears are open. We already know what this looks like. We already know what we're looking for. We already know, I can't put this past someone to do this, whereas in the past we might think, come on, you're just whining, or, come on, you're just coming up with things, just like a kid that says, well, I got a failing grade in that class because my teacher doesn't like me. It's like, take a responsibility for yourself, whatever. That's not going to be the case anymore. We're going to be seeing like, oh crap, maybe there is something to some of these claims that people are saying, and more people are going to see that as truth, and you're not going to be able to hide that as well anymore. So he's going to be a part of bringing that out. So the good thing is he does seem like he's playing a big part in catalyzing big things, but maybe not in the way that he had hoped. In the way that he had hoped, he would be playing a big part because he would be playing the role of president. But the way that this is showing, it's like you're playing a big part because you're showing just how broken things are, by getting to live in a broken existence. And I just feel bad for the guy, when I was doing the video last time a year ago, I was feeling bad for the guy. I'm feeling bad for the guy here, but this is what I'm seeing. This is what this is, with the Ace of Wands in reverse and the King of Pentacles card in reverse. I just don't see him being able to make enough ground to achieve his goals. This is really not even being able to take the first full step forward, and with this in reverse, just tangibly not being able to achieve that, not being able to grab that, end prize. So for people out there that think, well, this is the time that an independent really could win it, and this is the time that dynamic will change, and we'll actually see a third party person come in. I'm not really seeing that we're there yet, at least from these cards. At least from what they're showing me here, it doesn't look like we've made it to that point yet. So just from what I'm seeing here, I think that's a bit of wishful thinking for now. Again, that whole thing they were saying last time about he's just ahead of his time, he just came in and tried something like 100 years too soon or something like that. That's what I'm seeing here. So, this is just kind of in general, but let's pull these back up, reshuffle, see what else we can figure out about his future, what to expect with him, maybe with his campaign, maybe beyond the elections in his campaign, anything that could come up here that could be pertinent to know. Let's look into that. And as I'm getting shuffled up here, there's tons of videos over there on the channel membership if you're interested. So the Perk Squad over there, if you'd like to be a member, you can click the blue join button down below or the link in the description box. Lots of perks to the Perk Squad. You got your own Penelopes by your name, you've got your own emojis, you've got your own exclusive videos and posts and weekly forecasts every single week to see what is in store for that week. Lots of extended stuff over there, and video shout outs as well. So shout out to you, Rose Jackson Spicer. I hope I'm saying your last name correctly. Shout out to you, Rose Jackson Spicer, and thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. We are happy to have you here, Rose, so thank you and welcome. And yeah, let's dig on in and see what else we can know about RFK Jr. Let's see. Okay. What else can we know about him? Okay. So we've got a little bit of a mix here. Not everything is good, but not everything is bad either. We do see him coming up here as a King of Swords upright, which is to say that he is very smart, very quick, and that, technically a King of Swords is an attorney card. I want to say he's in law, like maybe is an attorney himself. I can't remember completely if he is an attorney, but that he has some legal knowledge and prowess and things of that nature. And I do see that coming in handy for him. Our Sun card being in reverse, it's still, the best card in the deck. So in reverse, it just means that there's a lot of potentials here that he is going to be, hoping for, aiming for, that he's just not able to secure. Again, our Ace of Wands is coming up a second time and in reverse. So it's just like he's going to get so close to certain things that he wanted and just not quite be able to get that in. So maybe that's like, oh, I'm so close to getting to fully debate, but then I can't. Or I'm so close to being on every single ballot there is, but then something happens. Or I'm so close to, being one of the first third-party candidates to really get recognized, in a very big and powerful way, in a way that could really swing things differently in the lay of the land of our, crazy United States political schema, and then I just didn't quite get there. So it just feels like a so close but no cigar type of situation in lots of different buckets that he's got going on, lots of different goals he has, lots of different aims that he has. So that's a good thing and also a frustrating thing, because it's frustrating to not quite reach all of those aims, but it's still a good thing in that, if you're able to actually push the needle further along than, a lot of your predecessors who were functioning as independents were able to do, that's still something, that's still something worth recognizing. But in terms of achieving those things, I think everything just kind of misses the mark just a bit, like just a little bit shy of getting what he's aiming for here. So I definitely do see that coming up here, which I'm sure, is not the best feeling for him to see. Down here with our Ace of Pentacles upright, Four of Swords in reverse, Ace of Cups in reverse. It's weird to juxtapose these two things side by side, because this is really great and this is really, in his case with what we're talking about here, really not. So our Ace of Pentacles, I see in a way that could be considered, positive here. Good. I see him getting offered something that a lot of people would choose to accept. So there's something that's going to get put on the table for him, some kind of offering that's going to be like a carrot and a stick dangled in front of him, that a lot of people would take that. A lot of people would say yes to that. I'm not sure if he will, though. I don't know if this is because of some, like, oh, well, I would feel like a sellout if I did that, or I would feel like, I'm betraying myself and my integrity if I did that, or I would feel like there's strings attached if I did that and I don't want to get caught in that, or even if it's, I don't necessarily know that this would be true, but even if it's a petty drama thing of, I just don't like those people and I don't want to be associated with that, it could be something like that. But I do see something kind of offered to him that other people would accept, and I don't necessarily see him accepting that. But, he's got free will, he's allowed to choose, so, that could shift. He could choose to accept it. It's just that right now, as I see these potentials playing out, I would see he'd be more likely to decline whatever it is that offer is. So that's interesting that they put that there. These two cards, though, they kind of make me worry a bit about him because there's something that is like emotionally upsetting enough to bring a stillness over him or his family or something like that. I'd like to think that this is not something as serious as what has happened to his father and his uncle. I'd like to think that we're not getting in that kind of pew-pew type territory here with this. That's not necessarily what I think these cards are standing for. But I do see him enduring some sort of a hit that is a heavy enough blow that it does seem to get in the way a bit. He has so far seemed like the type of person, the type of candidate to push forward a lot through all kinds of things, to take a lot of grief from, people, entities, organizations, etc., and continue to move forward anyway. This is something that could be a bit of a speed bump in what he's doing, and enough of a hurdle that it could cause either a pause or having to take some sort of a break, or having to revisit the drawing board and reassess, or something like that. Like, this is enough of a barrier or a hurdle that it can knock the wind out of your sails here, and it can really pause some of that inertia that he had going. So that's a little bit worrying. Anytime I see that kind of a thing coming up for a candidate, I always get worried for them. I've got empathy for all these folks. It's not something I would ever want to do, run for president, and I don't envy anyone that has to go through however intensive a process that would be to run for president. So as much as there may be some of these individuals that I agree more with or less with policy-wise, as a human being, they all go through a lot to campaign as president, or campaign for president. And so whenever I see these kind of hardships come up, I'm like, nail biter. So let me reshuffle these back. We'll pull one more time. See anything else that we can know that could be coming up for RFK Jr. in his future. Anything that we are allowed to know about his future, even if it's beyond the presidential campaign trail for 2024. And as I'm shuffling here for this, if you'd like to book a private reading with me, my website is BeasTalksAndTarot.com. You can book a private reading with me. I've got several different options for tarot readings there on my website. I also have Reiki Energy Healing for anybody that needs a cleansing, clearing, calming energy tune-up. I also have intuitive healing sessions for anybody that needs any gentle guidance, and personal healing, to just feel like they're getting helped out in some of the hardships that life is throwing their way. And then I also do tarot tutoring for anybody that wants to learn to read the cards the way I read the cards. So all of that is thoroughly explained on my website. What each session does is explained on there. The prices all explained on there. So BeasTalksAndTarot.com if you're interested. Alrighty, so let's see. Anything else we're allowed to know, Spirit Guides, about RFK Jr., even if it's beyond the 2024 presidential campaign cycle? Okay. Now this is interesting. Notice that when I've opened things up to looking at beyond the 2024 presidential campaign cycle, the cards we're seeing here overall on the whole are a lot more positive. So notice that all of the grief and the hell and the trudging through and the hit after hit and notice that all of that stuff was coming up hardcore when we were looking at the presidential election. But then when we started looking beyond that, suddenly there's a rosier picture showing here. Very interesting. Very interesting. That tells you a little something about the competition and how ugly or underhanded things can get when you're considered a threat. So I find that to be incredibly interesting here, just seeing that out. So, okay then. Okay then. Whatever. Wow. I don't know why I allow my mind to get blown anymore. I should just be used to seeing whatever I see here and it just be what it is. But for whatever reason, I still get my mind blown on things sometimes while I'm reading. So whatever, man. But let's look here. So top row, 6 of Cups upright, Empress card upright, Queen of Cups upright. I see that whether it's still during his campaign or after the campaign is kind of opened up and, you know, things are going forward from there, I see that he would have some sort of possibilities and potentials coming in for him, like things that could really make a difference and take his goals somewhere. Like, how do I put this? Let me see if I can get an example. All right, Spirit Guides, if I can get an example in my mind. Okay, so here's an example that they just popped in. Like when, you know, regardless of if somebody wins or loses some sort of a race or something that they're trying to campaign for, if they have some kind of a way to successfully get messaging out there, even if it's not on an election year or something, people could respond well to that and remember that. So let's say he, you know, ended up with some sort of major interviews or ended up being able to kind of, you know, put himself out there on TV or radio or a podcast or a show or a documentary or something like that, where he was able to, I guess, get himself out there to more Americans and have more people know who he is and what he's about and what he stands for, that if he were to be able to do that, there would be people that would remember that, or people that would jump on the bandwagon of like, hey, you know, how can we support this person in their cause kind of thing. And so I see that kind of like gifting from the universe to him, where he's able to plant the seeds that he's trying to grow and they really do start to grow and go somewhere, and that he gets some sort of backing and support around that, and that he gets more financial help around that, whether that's like donors or, you know, making money off of something, like when people, you know, in politics write a book or something and they make money off of book sales, or, you know, things like that. I don't know. I see some kind of ventures like that that slowly but steadily actually help to get him out there. I don't know that all of this would take place during this presidential run. It feels like it could be starting during this, like some of it beginning during this, but it feels like that will come up later. Like if there's again, like let's say he was writing a book about running or something and it got released later, or if he was going to do a show or a podcast or documentary or something that gets put out there later, or there's, you know, there's some kind of something that gets him out there to more people, that it feels like it's brewing right now and it will blossom later. Something like that I see that would actually be quite beneficial to him, that he could take that somewhere, you know, if he wanted to run for some sort of office again later, or if he wanted to do some kind of a grassroots thing later, or if there was some ability for the quote-unquote two-party system to kind of get knocked down and expanded, then he could be a part of, you know, leading the pack for that third option later or something. There's some kind of a thing like that. I still don't see that he would be able to see it all through and be the finisher for it. It feels, once again, like he's 100 years too early or something, and that he would be like thought of, like later down the line, he would be thought of as the grandfather of this thing. Like, this is the guy that laid down the foundation. This is the guy that put in all the footwork. This is the guy that really made leaps and bounds starting this thing, but somebody else later down the line will be the finisher, not him, is kind of what this is coming up with. So, I know some people could be really bummed by hearing that, and some people could be really inspired by hearing that. I guess it depends on how you're looking at the situation. So, if we're thinking about him, then it is kind of a bummer because it sucks to work so hard and that happened. But then if we're thinking about, other people and laying down groundwork for other people to take the torch and go from there, then that seems like pretty cool. One thing I think is interesting from all of this is, like I said, I've looked already into the cards, sometimes multiple times, on President Joe Biden, on former President Trump, on presidential candidate Kamala Harris. I've looked at all of them, and in all three of their readings, there was a lot of here's the good about them and here's the not so good about them. And, there was a lot of, support, but also critique about them in their readings. And I will say that in this reading and in my previous RFK Jr. reading, it's interesting that I didn't notice quite so much, I guess, critical stuff coming up about him that has come up about Biden, Trump, and Kamala. And the guides have been very, I guess, realistic to say, in the past, hey, when you're, making a move away from Democrats into an independent, in some ways you could be shooting yourself in the foot, because in some ways you're making things harder for yourself and yada, yada, yada. Like, so they've said things like that are kind of on the critical side that, could insinuate like there's easier or decisions that could be made, or maybe even quote unquote better decisions that could be made than what he's making. But they haven't said things in either of these readings about him that gets at like sneakiness or underhandedness or, major character flaws or, things like that sometimes get sprinkled into some of these other folks' readings. And I have found that very interesting both times. So yeah, I don't know exactly what to make of that, because everyone's got skeletons in their closet. We've all got, things that we're maybe not as proud of, or possibly even have regrets. I'm sure he's no different here. But in terms of the whole playing well in the sandbox, they've brought more of that up here for him than the others. To give the others some credit, just in case, it could be that they weren't being critical of the others as a person, and they were being critical of the, organizations and entities that they represent. So maybe, like the DNC and the RNC and like all these big entities and stuff are what kind of is a little bit defunct and losing its way in terms of integrity, but the people there aren't so bad. It's the system behind them that is. Maybe that's the case, and maybe because he quote unquote does not have a system behind him because he's independent, he doesn't have that coming up in his reading, and they do. So, to be fair to the other candidates, it could be about the systems backing them more than it's about them personally, but I don't know. I just know that it's interesting that this is how this happened both times. And so I just wanted to kind of point that out, that I found that to be interesting. So anywho, y'all, if y'all want to book a private reading, you know where to go. If you want to join Perk Squad, you know where to go. If you want to come back here for a new reading, you know where to come back. Happy to have you again. We've got a lot of other requests here that I'm going to be trying to get through in the coming days, weeks, months. Got a schedule up for live streams going live twice a month. That's on the community tab. So if you want to know what days and times I'll be going live twice every month, that will be there on the community tab. Just go over there and check that out. And I have a B-roll coming up. Some puppy shenanigans and life shenanigans coming up here, just to be funny or cute or endearing or whatever. Bring some lightness and positivity to what otherwise can sometimes feel a bit heavy when we do politics and things like that. So got that coming up here. And, you know, as always, keep sending in your requests. I work off of your requests, and it doesn't always have to be political requests. So, you know, I've done plenty of other things like true crime, astrology stuff, all kinds of things on the channel. You can look back at my videos and my playlists. So, anywho, don't be a stranger. Come back and see me and Penelope, and I will talk at you later. Bye, y'all. That's what it is. Son, it is a squirrel. The squirrel is eating lunch. It is just a squirrel eating lunch. It's just a squirrel eating lunch. Teddy, it's a squirrel eating lunch. We're gonna leave him alone. We're gonna let him eat his lunch. Okay? Teddy, it's 12:30 in the afternoon. He wants to eat lunch, damn it. Jeez Louise. The entire kennel here